lovely good morning to you, our Camnet viewer. This is a breakfast show that comes to your screen every morning from Monday to Saturday, where we bring you nothing but the best of what is happening around, be it in current affairs, be it in politics, be it in business, be it in sports, and other sectors of development. Things that matter to the country need to be discussed about. If we feel we are aggrieved about something, of course, even such needs to be discussed. Our stakeholders and everyone out there is free to contribute on this program by calling through the lines that are on the screen, and we will be able to respond to some of those questions that you have and anything that you would like to ask on this program. And every Friday on this program, we look at the business sector, or rather the business segment of what is happening around with regards to business in the country. Remember, there is no economy that can prosper without business, and sentiments that lead to that need to be discussed, and that can only happen if you, the viewer out there, call to make your contributions so that the policymakers can hear to some of the submissions that you have. Sometimes I always emphasize to say it's very difficult for you to get to, for example, the president and make those your submissions, but through programs like this, because you might not know who's watching, the people who make policies and laws are able to listen to those contributions and submissions that you have. That's why it is very important for you to make those contributions. Even today on this program, we are discussing very important topic. Just stay tuned to Camnet TV even as we get to discuss these topics. But remember, this is an interaction program where you can call through and make your contribution. Today in studio, my name is Prudence Chota, and I will carry you through until 09 hours. We will have a long time to chat together. But of course, on the program, mostly I'm joined by my colleague Miriam Kayamba, who's unfortunately not been feeling too well. My colleague, if you're watching me, I wish you all the best. Quick recovery. I'm sure the state misses you a lot. We need you here so that we begin to interact. But away from that, even this morning, it's always important. I always emphasize when I come on this program that it is important for you to exercise. It is important for you to keep fit, and that is what we do. Camnet TV does not just bring you news. It does not just bring you current affairs. It does not just bring interviews. It does not just bring the gospel to your homes, but we also want you to keep fit, and that is through exercises. So every morning on this program, we play a segment where you can exercise with us. So if you are in the comfort of your home, let's get joining and let's begin to exercise. God wants you to do your daily activities in good health. So you cannot be healthy if you do not exercise. That's why exercise are important. You know, there are those of us who don't usually find time to go to the gym, maybe because of one or two hindrances to that. But you can even exercise in your home, and it is through this segment that you can do that. So even right about now, we are going to go into our morning boost. Stay tuned to Camnet TV.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Boost. I'm sure you've been following our programs and not just watching but also trying to exercise. So welcome, and today we're going to be working on the abs. All right, let's go. Warm up. Let's go. Same jumping jacks. Instead of going all the way up, this time here we go. That's your warm-up today. Go. All right. So that's a 1 minute warm up. Let's do some abs workout now. Okay. As you can see, I came with a bottle of water. We're going to do some Russian twist. There you go. Get a bottle, put it down there. If you have a dumbbell, good for you. I'm going to sit here, working on the abs. Lean back a bit. There you go. 1, 7, 10. Okay, go to the second one. We're going to come back to this one. Here we go. Lie down. That was 10. I'm going to do another 10. Let's go. That's 10. Bring back the bottle. Let's go 10. Eight and 9, 10. Go down. Let's go 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's the set, which is 40. If you want after that, you can take a break. Let's do another one now. Still on the abs. Okay. I'm going to be now sliding on the sides. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. 15-second break. Then you go back to the workout again. Another 10. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many? 8, 9, 10 for those that are watching on Facebook. So that's 20. Here we go now. Elbow to knee crunches. And then we start doing it. Okay. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So you've done your abs workout for today. And we do that again. And it's going to work out fantastic for you. Let's cool down. I only have seconds to my 5 minutes now. And very soon I'll be signing out. So that's how you do your abs workout. We did 3, if you noticed. So let's go march and start cooling down. March, march, march. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I've enjoyed my session with you. Looking forward to train with you again. Let's go.
I hope you have exercised this morning. Very important activity to do every morning. Not even in the morning. Sometimes you can even do it in the evenings. You can go back to Camnet TV because this program is always recorded on our Facebook page. So in case in the morning you fail to make it to exercise, you can always go to our Facebook page in the evening and play that particular clip so that you can exercise. That is before you go to bed. You exercise, you finish, you take a bath, and you sleep. And I'm sure you're going to have sweet dreams after doing that. Important exercising. It's always important. I always emphasize when I come on this program. Away from exercising, there's also one important aspect of our lives that we need to do with our body if we have to live a good and healthy life, and that is the part of listening to the doctors. So Doctor's Corner comes to your set every morning from Monday to Friday, where we talk about different subjects of concern that are very important to our health. So if you have maybe a challenge, you have something that you would like the doctors to talk about, you can also send us those topics and we are going to forward them to the doctors. It can be a condition that you don't really understand. It can be that you have a child, a brother, a sister, a husband, or rather mother, father, who have a particular illness that you don't really understand. You can forward through those questions and the doctors will be able to respond. So this is a time now that we look at the health corner. Remember, it is always important to get your body checked when you feel it is not feeling normal. Yeah? The body needs to be normal. You need to be in a normal vibe almost every day. But if you think any part of your body does not feel good that particular time, always remember to see the doctors. We are in a habit of self-prescription. Stop prescribing your own medication. You can't be treating what is not there, leaving the problem to grow or rather to mature at the age where it cannot be treated. So we are going to go to Doctor's Corner, and on Doctor's Corner today we have Dr. Mwamba Pumbwe, Dr. Mwamba Pumbwe from UTH, and the topic is secondary headaches. And I think this is a topic that is very important. Sometimes we have a system of saying, hey, I'm feeling headache. I think let me just take a little bit, take a lot of water, which is of course good therapy. Water is very good therapy for most of the illnesses. But let's get to hear what the doctors have to say with regards to secondary headache.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Mwamba Pumbwe, coming from Medical Women Association of Zambia. Today we are talking about secondary headache. Before I continue with the secondary headache, just a recap from yesterday's presentation. Yesterday I talked about primary headaches, which can be either migraine headaches, tension headaches, and cluster headaches. And the primary headaches are not because of a disease or secondary to any disease that you may have. They just occur due to certain risk factors, such as not drinking enough water, which is recommended on a daily basis, not having enough sleep, due to stress or anxiety. Those headaches could be due to watching too much TV or playing video games, and also lack of sleep or changes in sleep. Those are the main causes of a primary headache. So today I'm going to talk to you about secondary headaches. So secondary headaches are always because of an underlying condition or disease. The causes of secondary headaches, it can be due to trauma. So there are different types of trauma. It can be because child maybe fell from a tree, or you are involved in a road traffic accident, or you hit your head somewhere, or someone hits a stone on your head. All those can cause a secondary headache. Trauma can cause either concoction or contusion or even confusion. Then secondary headaches could also be to infection. So secondary headache can be due to some severe infection or just infections in general. So this infection can include ear infections, some cold, flu, trauma. Also, when you've got an infections in the sinuses, all these can cause primary headaches. Other causes of primary headaches include seizures, stroke, some brain abscess. So those and many more can cause secondary headaches. So there are some red flag symptoms. So there are red flag symptoms that you have to look out for when when a child is complaining of a headache. So to start with, so if a child who is less than 6 years old complains of a headache, you have to take that child seriously and take that child to the hospital so that the child can be checked on by the health workers. Other red flags. So the first red flag is the onset of the headache. So if a child is 6 years is less than 6 years and complaining of the headache, take them to the health facility. Then if you've got a new onset headache, which is less than a month, or a headache which is worsening, you have to take that child to the hospital. Then if the headache, also you need to look at what time of the day the headache is occurring. If the headache occurs mostly in the middle of the night, whereby disturbing the child from sleep, a child wakes up from sleep complaining of headache, or if the headache occurs early in the morning, it could be a sign of a more serious problem, and that child also needs to be checked from the hospital. Then also the headache that is triggered by coughing, like if someone coughs and then you start experiencing a headache. Then also the headache that comes after changing posture, maybe from a lying position to a standing position, you experience a headache. It could be a problem as well. Then headaches that are accompanied by vomiting, persistent vomiting, or an increase in the frequency of vomiting, those are also red flags of a headache. Then also if a child presents with a headache plus has got a fever, complaining of ear pain, or having some ear discharge, even those are red flags. Then some children can also experience photosensitivity, whereby they don't want to stay in the bright room because this will make their headache worse. Then some also experience neck stiffness, you're vomiting, and you're having maybe some visual disturbances. It could be because of the increased intracranial pressure. So all these are red flag symptoms, and the child needs to be taken to the hospital immediately. Then the other thing is when a child is complaining of a headache and also starts having like maybe weakness in one hand or the leg or half of the body, or it is also a red flag symptom. For secondary headaches, so secondary headaches should be taken more seriously. And if you see any of these red flag symptoms which I've mentioned, the vomiting, the photosensitivity, the neck stiffness, the fever, ear pain, or the headache that is worse in the morning or wakes up the child from sleep, then it needs some attention, and the child should be taken to the hospital for medical checkup. So always look out for the red flag symptoms that I've mentioned, and if you see your child is behaving in any unusual way, please bring your child to the hospital. My name is Dr. Mwamba Pumbwe. Keep watching Camnet TV.
There you have it. That was Dr. Mwamba Pumbwe from the University Teaching Hospital, and she's of course part of the Medical Women Association of Zambia, and she was talking to the fact that there is what we know as secondary headache, which is sometimes caused by an underlying condition or diseases caused by trauma. She's mentioned something. She's mentioned a lot of important things that we can take away from today's topic of discussion, and that is, of course, speaking to the fact that this can be caused by infection, and sometimes it happens, or rather occurs, in kids less than 6 years of age. If you notice that your child is photosensitive, when maybe she mentioned photosensitive, you didn't understand what does it mean when she says photosensitive. When they see popping up pictures on the screen, they develop headaches. That can be a problem. Take them to the hospital. Or flashing pictures. Sometimes, TV flashes pictures, more especially when they're doing adverts and stuff like that. But when the child is watching and they usually develop bad headaches, when that happens, please take them to the hospital. They need to be checked. If a child is vomiting, then they are developing headaches, please take them to the hospital. They need to be checked. And of course, what time of the day this occurs. When someone is sleeping in the night, then suddenly they wake up and they have these bad headaches, which is causing them not to sleep. Please take them to the hospital. Remember, don't take anything for granted. Most of the time when we have headaches, we just feel as if maybe you are stressed or it's hot or stuff like that, and you just resort to say, let me take water. Water, I've already mentioned to say, it is good therapy for almost many of the illnesses, but it is important for you to seek medical help. Listen to what the doctor, the nurses, the clinical officer, the clinicians have to say with regards to your condition, so that you can just be or cognizant with your condition. We've seen nowadays people are just collapsing and dying. But someone has died. Maybe that headache might have been a frequent occurrence and they kept ignoring it, but that day, because it was too much, they mentioned it and suddenly they died. I think of late, we've been hearing a lot of those kind of deaths. I don't know about you who are watching home, but I think just last month and the last 2 to 3 months, I've witnessed about 4, 5, 6 deaths that people were only saying they had headache. It was nothing. They were just complaining about the headache and suddenly someone dies. So don't take anything for granted. Remember to always seek medical attention. When you feel there's something wrong with your body, even just a small pain, please seek medical help. It is important. We don't want you to suddenly just collapse and leave this world. You still have so much to offer and contribute. Regardless of what you're going through in life or regardless of who you are, you still have a lot that you can offer to this country, and we need you. So ensure that you go to the hospital and seek medical attention. So even right about now, we are going to go into the money market. We always bring money market to your set on Camnet TV because we want to know how is it that our local currency is faring against other major convertibles. If you are in business, you want to know how much you're going to buy your goods from South Africa, from Europe, from Britain, from the US and other countries. You need to know how is it that our local currency is faring against other major convertibles. So this is the time that we assess the performance of our local currency. So my director, I don't know if the money market's okay. Good news, good news. The Zambian kwacha against the United States dollar is buying at 16 kwacha 86 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 20 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the British pound is buying at 21 kwacha 20 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 62 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the euro is buying at 18 kwacha 89 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 26 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 06 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 08 ngwe. Interesting there, the Zambian kwacha seems to have gained against the United States dollar and other major convertibles. And one thing that is also interesting is that our Zambian kwacha against the South African rand. I know we do a lot of trade with South Africa. A lot of businesses out there are buying from South Africa. So the Zambian kwacha against the rand, I think, is buying at 1 kwacha 06 ngwe. That is good. It's like we are almost there. And if we continue seeing our kwacha perform like this, I think we are going in the right trajectory. Also, against the United States dollar, it's buying at 16 kwacha 86 ngwe. We've seen our local currency is slowly appreciating from where it was. And of course, in the past month or so, 2 months, we've seen it stabilize at between 17 kwacha and 18 kwacha. You know, when you have a stable currency and one that is appreciating with time, those are positive sentiments in the economy. And of course, on Wednesday, we did see the Zambia Statistical Agency mention that our country's inflation rate has now reduced to somewhere 11 point something. I need to get those figures correctly before we leave this program. These are positive sentiments in our economy. Even as we look towards economic recovery, we have a currency that is appreciating. We have our inflation rate that is now slowing down to where we hope to see. So hopefully we can also see the issue of fuel being tabled in the country. Trust me, when we have this in our economy, we are going to see a good road to economic recovery, because this is where, and rather what we are looking to. We need a stable currency, of course, that is strong against other major convertibles. We need to see our inflation slow down. We need to see fuel price also stabilize. So we hope everything that is triggering the fact that fuel remains high can be tabled. And we know that that is a war between Russia and Ukraine. We just pray for the two countries to ensure that peace prevails. Peace in any country is very important. And of course, Zambia has enjoyed its peace for a long time. And yesterday, we did celebrate the Kaunda Day. It was declared a public holiday by the former Republican President Edgar Lungu in honor of the first Republican President, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, of course, who fought for independence of this country. And today I stand here, or rather sit here, to discuss in studio because of what our forefathers did, the freedom that they fought for this country. What a day. And of course, yesterday we did see the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema do an exercise in honor of Dr. Kaunda, that is, the Keeping Zambia Clean. He went through the central business and started to clean up. But maybe my appeal to just everyone is, let's be responsible over our environment. We only have one environment. If we keep polluting it by throwing waste anyhow, we are not helping. We are killing animals and we are killing ourselves without even realizing it. If you have litter, please keep that litter and wait until you drop it in the right place. When you buy that machosa, that kind of thing, please keep those. Those are small things that you can even put in your pocket. When you finish eating that, freeze it. Do not dispose of that plastic. If these plastics bottles end up in drainages, we see what happens during rain season. There is a blockage of drainages, and if water cannot flow, the water begins to come in our homes, and some of those water carry a lot of bacteria, sewer and stuff like that, and they land on our doorsteps, and in the morning our children wake up and play in that water. So let's be responsible over our environment. Keeping Zambia clean should not be an activity that has to wait for the head of state to go around the central business district to clean. But we can do that even in our homes. When we see litter, plastic around, please just pick it, throw it in the bin, and wait for the companies that empty trash to come and collect it. Let's be responsible over our environment. There is now climate change. This is one thing we don't understand. If you throw litter, paper anyhow, it is leading to climate change. If you burn waste anyhow, it is leading to climate change. And we saw what happened. For those who are in Lusaka this year, we did not receive enough rainfall. Some crops have been destroyed. Lusaka has stopped receiving good rainfall patterns. But we can change that if we take responsibility over our environment. So even right about now, we are going to see what is it that the president said yesterday when he was undertaking this cleaning exercise. Perhaps we can learn one or two things from there. So this is a point where we zoom in some of the stories that made headlines. And even right about now, we are going to zoom in what the president said yesterday during the cleaning exercise in Lusaka.
8 months after the United Party for National Development UPND formed government, reports emerged indicating that President Hakainde Hichilema has not drawn a presidential salary since ascending to office. Questions behind the move have been posed by various stakeholders. The head of state has however explained that the move is aimed at empowering citizens in need through the said money, adding that these will be identified through a structure that is currently being set up. Addressing journalists during the launch of the cleaning exercise, which was done in honor of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, Zambia's first Republican president, on Thursday, President Hichilema says he is leading by example.
I was always self-employed. I started working for myself when I was 27 years old. That is true. That's good, isn't it? You heard how I was answering that question. If then an orphan can benefit, more orphans, already we've been supporting orphans, if more can benefit from that, that's fantastic. My children, my biological children, have been stopped by me and my wife from working for government. None of them work for government. Why? It's to leave space for your children, yourself, to work for the government. Because HH's children are privileged. Now that they are privileged, they must allow others to also have access to income. Same principle. Same principle. I am funded by myself. The little investments we made when we were working for ourselves for such a long time, and a difficult time, is now to allow others to have access to opportunity. That's why I'm in public office. That's why I serve public office. Is that not a good thing? Wonderful.
He has also called for the localization of the Keep Zambia Clean campaign to make the work of local authorities easier.
If we don't clean our environment, if we live with dirt, we will basically be afflicted with disease. Cholera. Cholera. Other death-based diseases, then we get sick. Our people get sick. We need everyone to remain healthy so that they can work and contribute to economic development, to create a job. You heard me yesterday launch the public-private partnership. Did you follow that? That will be our way of working, so that if a business can create just one extra job for one who finished school, completed school, but has been in the streets for 6 years, think happy. You should be happy, right? But imagine that individual is just about to get a job under our new public-private partnership arrangement, and they die because of the debt. We will be responsible, isn't it? We will be accountable. So to avoid that, we clean. And this is an example for everybody to clean. And I've said we must localize the cleaning in the communities, in the wards, in the constituencies, before we wait for a council meeting. We clean our homes. You clean your home. Don't you make your bed every morning when you wake up? Don't you sweep your room? It's the same principle.
The cleaning exercise was held in honor of Zambia's first Republican president towards the vision of a better Zambia. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Republican President Hakainde Hichilema, they are going around the central business and cleaning the environment. And of course, he mentioned important aspects. I don't know for those who are watching in the comfort of your homes, or rather in your offices, or maybe you are in transit and you're watching Camnet TV. There is a line that is on the screen. You can call and make your contributions with regards to what the president said yesterday. So the takeaways from the clip that we've just watched, the president was encouraging people to keep their homes and surroundings clean. He gave an example to say, when you wake up, don't you clean the bed? Maybe this is a challenge to some of us who are watching Camnet TV. When you wake up, do you leave the beds clean? Or ticho kapoche, when we come back in the night to sleep, visa is sorting. Yeah, even when an ant enters your bed, it will be waiting for you to come back in the night so that it can feast on you. We need to begin to keep our environment clean and healthy if we are to prevent climate change, that is, of course, destroying our environment. And then other things that the president said yesterday, he was encouraging people to work hard. He gave an example to say, for me, I started working at the age of 27, and I have been working since then. My children do not need to serve in the government. They can even find other alternative work for me or stuff like that, so that we can create employment for other people in the government. How many of us out there are doing better, have companies that can be willing to employ our kids so that we leave spaces for others in the public service, or even employ others in those positions that we have created? Imagine if I'm to start a business today, I employ 2 people. You there home start a business, employ 2 people. Another neighbor starts and employ 2 people. We can make Zambia a better place. So this is time, I think we started thinking of ideas that can develop our country, even being it running a shop, being it keeping chickens, or rather being it, goat business, pork and stuff like that. We can venture into those businesses and employ others. If I employ 2, if a million of us are to employ 2 people, that's about 3 million. We can be creating employment for our local people, and that can begin when we take that step and make a difference. Other things that the president spoke to the fact yesterday is that he's not going to be drawing his salary. However, they are going to identify a sector in society where his salary is going to be channeled to. That's a good initiative because he has the resources. He does not need that salary, but there is someone out there who needs that money to help improve them. I think when a lot of us begin to think like that, I think we are going to make Zambia a better place where we can channel some of the resources that we have to needy people. Maybe people wonder how the USA and other countries are making it big. How is it that they are helping our people? You know, I watch a lot of what happens around with regards to some of these vulnerable groups that their fellow people in the US help. And that begins with people who've got resources and they make donations. They've dedicated a certain amount of money every month that goes towards service in their own country. So if you have 100 people, 200, 1,000, a million people who are doing that, we can make Zambia a better place for ourselves. A lot of people are needy, and if we stretch our hands, we are going to make Zambia a better place. And the president has done that by leading by example, by saying, my salary will look for needy areas, and we can channel resources towards that. But for those of you who are watching home, what is your comment with regards to that, or with regards to what the president said? But of course, we are not diverting from the fact that yesterday they were cleaning and encouraging to keep our surroundings clean. Let us clean our environment. Do not drink that water and throw the plastic or the litter in the drainage anyhow. Let's keep it. Myself, I usually keep trash in my handbag. When you go through my handbag, you will really be surprised of how much trash I have in there, because I don't want it to be in the environment. I would rather keep it in my handbag and reach a right place and throw it in there. Let's make a difference with regards to our environment. Lusaka, I'm emphasizing, Lusaka did not receive good rainfall pattern. Why? Because we have a lot of pollution that is happening around. Let's take responsibility of our environment. Do not throw that litter. Or maybe if you are moving, you find litter. Wouldn't it be just right for you to pick it and throw it somewhere? Imagine if I'm to pick even 2 bottles to throw it somewhere, and everyone watching me does that. We would keep Zambia a better place. We need people to advocate for keeping Zambia clean, green, and healthy. Remember, this program has been launched, relaunched, but we don't seem to be progressing. We need to start progressing, and that begins now. But moving away from that, I mentioned to the fact that we have seen our local currency, which is quite appreciated. We were just looking at the money market, and of course, we've seen positive sentiments. Our inflation rate has lowered. Speaking to that, the Zambia Statistical Agency on Wednesday this week, of course, announced that our inflation rate has reduced. So we are going to go to that story even as we get deeper into this program. And before we go to listen to this story, we have a very important guest who will be joining us today, and we are going to look at how is it that we can improve Western Province. We know Northwestern Province and Western Province, these have been like provinces that are underdeveloped. So we need to see how is it that we can develop this program. So I think we have a caller even about now. Good morning. You're through to the program.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you so much. You're through to the program. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
Thank you so very much. Good morning to all of you. Thank you. I wish to contribute on this wonderful program today. I think really starts by picking up from the point that you just made regarding the issue of, keeping our environment clean and green, which we saw the president yesterday on Speaker's Day commemoration undertakes with government officials and deputy chiefs and all other people that join the bandwagon to try and clean the CDC. While it is commendable and appreciated, but we must pick it up from what you just alluded to, that this campaign has been launched, relaunched. We don't know how many times we've had launches and relaunches of the thing. The question that gets answered is, why is it not sustainable? And the problem is leadership. Because we don't take everything, and bundle it in, this political goal, or we want to achieve it through the political lenses. For whatever, reason that, our politicians tend to have, which is very, very unfortunate. Because let me take you back to, I think, the incident we had a couple of years ago, I don't know whether it's 2-3 years ago, when we had that outbreak under the PS administration. Personally, when the president at that time, I think it's one of the things, because the many, terrible things that happened under the administration, but it's one of the things that I personally, take my hat off to him, that he brought in the military, the army, I think the government, and we saw how much taking the CPP was. The problem that has been there with us in indemnity is that over a period of time, coming from the new administration, and I like to make references to the recent times about the new administration under the president that we recommended yesterday, that, the leaders then much more cultured, was much more focused, was much more national-centered. Yes, there are politicians that are political interventions and interests, but in terms of, their focus on the unity of the nation, I think they stand out. They stand out because their focus was on national beauty and not much more on certain interests and so forth. And that is why we see that most of those leaders were not as elite as the leaders that we see today. So it is that kind of leadership style and leadership skills that we need to grow lessons from and build on that. We are things like humanism, faith, and all that. We are systems where things were attempted regularly. If you lived in those days under the leadership, you agree with me that, even the sustenance of trees along the main, road, were a main feature of the youth administration. We have seen almost an every street. I lived in Iraq for many, many years. You see the council used to send those streets. In fact, they were even protected, with street bars, some of those streets. It was part of, maintaining. And they don't say the issue of climate change was the extreme, that at that time, Texas and the leadership understood the importance of maintaining, trees and things like that in terms of, and that is why we have people who going forward and all that. And even with the issue of cleaners, we had the terms of blasting the grass almost every season and things like that, cleaning up the drainage. These were main features that we saw. But now, fast forward to what happened with the issue of cholera that I'm alluding to, because between 1991 to, the current time, there's been an evolution of attitude, The attitude that people have dramatically and drastically changed. The point where people don't care where they go their liquor and so forth. These people, take their garbage from their house, like the president was saying. There's nothing clean from their place, but they just go and discriminate and dispose of, the garbage, even on the street, And so these are the things that have created all this problem. Besides others, they are not just generally cleaning their own environment and so on, and it is being taken into the environment. So what needs to be done is to put up serious measures where the cleaning is military people, because this is also part of, and that some of our human research among the many young people that and state and so forth, just in places like the national safety, because then they can be used in some of these, activities of, keeping our environment clean, where they can be deployed for a certain period of time. And during that period, there's also, sensitization, because people, we have to say that we are going to authority there, the police or the military, we tend to behave with the civilians. So if that could be put in place for a period of time to help them to mindset change, so that people begin now to take it upon themselves in terms of, keeping the environment clean, whether it's in the marketplace or the street, in their own homes and so on and so forth. Then we can begin to see, a transformation of the entire environment, into what we expect it to be green and clean environment that all of us will be, proud of, and, a healthy environment that will not just, prevent issues like, cholera, typhoid, and those issues, but also the issues of climate change that are affecting us. Because in that little process, we can encourage people to begin planting trees, even in their own location, in their own locality, 2-3 trees in their environment. We need to get back to where we are coming from. I think the departure from where we are coming from has landed us to where we are today. I think that would be my contribution. And also the president, in terms of what he said about the salary, we do appreciate. But I think the management of those resources in order for other people also to emulate the president, it has to be properly managed, because we see that those people also have talked about management of public resources like that. I think at least it's also important for the management of that fund to be properly managed, so that other people can have confidence in terms of also contributing those that they have extra money manage and they're going to also do what the president has done. So thank you so very much for that.
Thank you so much, Reverend, for that contribution. That was a good, lengthy and contribution that can help us, of course, table the challenge that comes with, of course, cleaning our environment. It's brought out a lot of important issues. We need mindset change. We need to detach the issue of keeping the environment clean from politics, if at all we have to achieve that which we want to achieve. You know, we can't relaunching the Keep Zambia Clean, Green and Healthy. Let's make a difference. And of course, it's mentioned the fact that we need to start seeing people planting trees. We have a situation where the leaders who were there before us ensured that in most of the streets and stuff like that, they had trees. And that is one way we can also keep an environment clean. But I'm also going to throw this challenge to anyone who's watching me today. I think I'm going to advocate to be given a campaign in how we can keep Zambia clean, green and healthy. But I'm going to throw a challenge to anyone who's watching me today. Let's do this maybe and try to see if we can keep our environment clean. If you are in a home and right outside your yard, there is a drainage. Rather than you waiting for the Lusaka City Council to come and clean that drainage, let's do a challenge this week where we can clean our own drainage. My neighbor cleans the drainage, the next person cleans the drainage, the next person cleans the drainage. Imagine what we could achieve if we did that. If you have a shop, and then in front of the shop, there is, of course, a drainage. Why can't you clean the drainage? The next shop owner cleans the drainage. Anyway, I have another caller. Let's see what they have to say. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You're through to the program. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Unfortunately, I couldn't hear you, but I would like you to call back so that we listen to the contribution that you had to make. But please call us back and we'll be able to pick you. Just move from your TV set, and if I told the volume on your TV set is high, just reduce the volume as you speak to me to 0 so that we can get to interact. But I was able to hear you. You sounded as if you were very far. So please call us back and let's get to interact. So before I went on that, I said we are going to bring a suggestion where each person cleans the drainage that is in front of it. It can be doing a business. Imagine even the people in Lusaka who do street vending. I think there are drainages there. If we picked a challenge to say each person trading at that small place, Kaja, you move litter, the next person does that, the next person does that, and the next person does that. I think we can make Zambia a better place. If you have a home, I know the drainage part that we have is not really big. It's not something that we can't maintain. Imagine if you remove that litter and kept cleaning it almost every 2-3 days, you pass a broom there, the neighbor does that, the next neighbor does that. I think we can't be talking about litter in our environment. So let's begin to do that. We have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Yes.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Want to contribute.
Yes, where are you calling from?
The moderator is like you are diverting from the topic that you have put there. How do we develop Western province?
Oh, pardon me. Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me?
The topic is very good too. But you see, Western province, the only way it can develop is let the people begin to listen to Mwanamula na things Akashamba Kusita Iwanika. He is a revolutionary. Western province needs people who are revolutionary, not people who are politicians. No. I myself, I come from there, the part of Western province, which is the Rwapa district, Kambinyambi. Western province is very rich. The grass that you see is coming in Lusaka for searching. We have got the best grass in Western province. And also, we have got vast plains in Western province where cattle can begin to graze. And meaning that a lot of people can begin to go into animal husbandry. Ranches can be made in Western province. And we're going to vastly good land where we can also grow a variety of crops. Cash crops like soya, beans, Meiji, throughout the years. Well, because we have got also vast water bodies in Western Province. We can also do this so-called fish ponds in Western Province and produce a lot of fish that can feed the whole nation. Okay. And apart from that, we have got also trees. This road is coming mainly from Western Province. So what we must do is, let's sit down with the people like Atashamba Twapiti, Italy, Wanika. These are the people with the big brains. And we see how we can begin to produce these things, export them, and also earn enough revenue that can remain in Western Province and begin to develop our roads, begin to develop our infrastructure in Western Province. Let me tell you, my sister.
Okay, sir, I'm giving you a minute for you to conclude. I'm giving you 1 minute.
Yes, Western Province is the poorest in this nation at the poverty level of 82.2%.
Okay.
So that's what it is. You know, but anyway, you gave the reference more than 5 minutes to speak. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Okay, so our topic of discussion this morning, of course, is how is it that we can develop Western Province. But before we got to that interview, maybe for the caller who just called me, we played a clip where President Hakainde Hichilema was in the Central Business District yesterday doing the cleaning up exercise. So that's what we were discussing. So even right about now, we are going to take a short break. And in studio with me, I'm going to be joined by Western Province Minister, who's going to help me discuss how is it that we can develop Western Province. I know Western Province has not been developed for quite some time. So we know that Western Province will be hosting an expo this year, of course, next month. So we want to speak to that fact. Is it going to create employment? Is it going to improve Western Province? So we are going to be joined by the Western Province Minister in studio to help us discuss that topic. But for that caller, thank you so much for calling. And the Minister was listening to what you had to say. Even as we get him in studio to discuss that topic, stay tuned to Camnet TV so that you can make those contributions, those powerful contributions you just told me. The Minister wants to hear them. So even right about now, we are going to take a short break. Stay tuned to Camnet TV and we will be right back.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to Camnet TV, not just another channel. As I introduced earlier when I started this program to say we bring you nothing but the best of what is happening around in current affairs, in politics, in business, in sports, and of course in many other sectors, being it health, So our topic of discussion this morning, as you can see on the screen there, is how is it that we can develop Western Province? And we know that Western Province for quite some time has remained one of the least developed provinces, but these provinces have the potential. Before we went on a break, we had a caller who was making a lot of suggestions on how Western Province can be improved. We appreciate the contributions that you made. But in studio this morning, I have been joined by Western Province Minister Kapedwa Bangweta. Honorable Minister, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Maybe even the viewer out there, if you're just joining Camnet TV, we have Western Province Minister in studio, Kapedwa Bangweta, and we are discussing how is it that we can develop Western Province. Honorable Minister, maybe throwing this question to you, what is Western Province known for? What activities take place in Western Province? Like, for example, Copper Belt is known for copper. We've seen it is known for copper. If you go to Northwestern Province, it is equally known for mining activities. So what is Western Province known for?
Okay, so in the context of this discussion, Western Province is known for cattle,
okay,
is renowned for rice, is renowned for fish, is renowned for timber. Yeah, but the unfortunate part is that all those resources have not been exploited to their full potential. So in reverse, Western Province then has been known as the most underdeveloped province in the country, with poverty levels of 82.2%. Of course, our brothers and sisters who were there before also did not help matters, in the sense that most of the important projects did not take place there. But so that's a combination of what Western Province is or the renowned for.
Okay, so as a minister, of course, who's taken over the province, and we know for a fact that constituency development funds have now been increased to 25.7, is it 27.5 million kwacha from 1.6 where it was before. Let's talk to the issues of how we can develop Western Province. We know that there is also an expo that is coming up. Maybe before we talk about CDF, let's talk to the expo that we are expecting. When is it and to what period?
Okay, so maybe let's talk about the expo in the context of the government policies then and now. All provinces in the previous order had expos apart from Western Province.
Wow.
And of course that will explain to you why we people from Western Province have had the issues with the government then. Because this was a government program. There was absolutely no reason why there was no expo. But it reflects the way they looked at issues. Secondly, in the context of our New Dawn government's approach to development, is that each province must utilize to the full the resources for which they were endowed with. Okay, so in that particular respect, and this is the reason why also as part of this process, we are doing the expo. The expo is to open up Western Province to the rest of the world, to show them that we are here, and these are the potential opportunities in terms of investment which are available in the Western Province. So for example, if you look at the way things are, the Western Province has got Liwa National Park. Liwa National Park is only second after Serengeti in terms of the annual migration of the wildebeest. But that is not known, it's not marketed. And even people here in Lusaka, if you ask them and tell them Liwa, they wouldn't know. But everybody knows where Serengeti is. And so it means that if we were to exploit to the full that natural endowment, it means we would be able to attract tourism to this country, to our province. And as a matter of fact, as the New Dawn government, we are supporting the idea that there should be Southwest corridor, which means that when tourists come to Livingstone, they should be encouraged to go to Smalaha in Mwandi, Sioma in Sioma, end up with the Liwa National Park. And so if we do it that way properly, it means then the average stay of a tourist will not be 3 days, but maybe 14 days, and everybody gets value
a
from
share of that. When is the expo?
So the expo will be from the 19th of September to the 25th of September in Mongo.
In Mongo.
Yes.
How many businesses are you targeting, and how much subscription have you so far received?
We are targeting as many as possible, both locally and abroad. Abroad, we are particularly looking at the nearby neighboring markets, Angola, Botswana, and Namibia. Now, in the context of the numbers, let me give you an example. We had a mini expo expedition in Limulunga, which ran side by side with the Komboka ceremony. There we were targeting around 25 exhibitors just to see and test and then to heighten the interest. But as it ended, we oversubscribed to the tune of 43. And so it means that we just need to work hard and attract local investors, local exhibitors, and those from abroad. And so far things are looking pretty good.
Okay, what kind of companies do we have so far that have shown interest in the expo that is in September, of course?
Okay, so we have companies that have shown interest in the agricultural sector. And I'm sure you're aware that Western Province also, the soils there are very much amenable to the growing of cashew nuts. And the cashew nuts, in the overall scheme of things, the world prices now at the moment are better than copper. So it means that if we were to nurture that properly, we have a lot of potential to do better. We have also local companies like Saro in the agricultural sector. You know that rice also in Western Province grows very well, but the productivity has not been very good. So through this arrangement, what we are trying to do is to see whether we can improve the delivery of production by way of maybe, for example, having outgrower schemes. People can maintain their little fields, but you have technology applied, you have financing applied, and then also adding value to the final product. If we do that way, then obviously the possibilities are high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting there. Minister, you have mentioned to the fact that you are considering cashew nuts, which is of course fetching at the international market more expensive than copper. Do we have plans? Have you already started setting up plans of maybe how you can come up with ways of increasing production in cashew nut? And if that was to be done, let's talk about how many jobs would that create?
It would create a lot of jobs, but first of all, let me start with the initial part of the question. Yes, there actually a project called CIBIT, which has been funded by the African Development Bank. The idea of that project is to plant in the region of 7 million cashew trees. I think so far it's about 6.3 as per estimate. The idea is to get value, is to continue planting cashew trees, and then those are done and managed by small-scale farmers on their farms and so on. But what is required is to improve the management of the trees, spraying and intercropping, that sort of thing, and so that now once the cashew is ready, and then you can add value locally by making various products out of the cashew.
The other time, interestingly, I passed it through one of the shopping malls, and I got myself cashew nuts, just a small pack at 100 kwacha. Just, I think, slightly a small pack at 100 kwacha. I was so tempted to taste because these are local products that are produced locally, but most of us don't take time to buy. But I did that. So I was surprised to see that that small pack can fetch at 100 kwacha here in Zambia. What if we export to the other countries? Now, that brings me to this question. Are we exporting cashew nuts at the moment?
Not in a structured manner, okay? And this is precisely why we are saying through the expo, we are opening Western Province up to show what can be done in Western Province. Cashew is definitely one of the crops which, if done properly, can bring a lot of money, not only to Western Province, but to this country. Tanzania, there's an area called Mtwara, where they are growing cashew nuts at such high level, and Tanzania has gone into a different sort of level in this regard, and so this is what we aspire to, that there must be add valuation to the final products, and these products by the local people also should actually end up in the chain stores. As a matter of fact, when the president went there last week during the mini expo exposition, he issued instructions that the people adding value, the local small businessmen, should be able to get into the chain stores here. And so hopefully, since that is being followed up, you should be seeing cashew nut in these big chain stores produced from Western Province, which maybe up to now has not been the case. Yeah.
Honorable Kapelwa Bangweta is Western Province Minister, who's joining us today in studio, and of course we are discussing the development of Western Province. We know that Western Province, in terms of where it is about 82.2% poverty levels, but while this province has a lot of potential, it has a lot of water bodies, it has a lot of trees, it has timber, and of course other things. So in studio, the minister has mentioned to the fact that they are trying to implement how cashew nut can be grown on a large scale. That is just one sector, and of course is mentioned to the fact that in September this year they will be holding an expo. Remember that we had different expos in the past, among them Copperbelt Expo, Luapula Expo, Lusaka, and other provinces, but Western Province never had an expo. It was just left out, and they are trying to open it up to other provinces. So if you're watching Camnet TV, you're from Western Province. I know earlier I did receive a call from someone coming from there who was making contributions. You can also call through and ask those questions and make contributions on this program with regards to how is it that Western Province can be developed. Honorable Minister, moving on, we would also like to know something. You did mention to the fact that the agriculture sector is one thing that is being looked at in terms of the expo. Let's talk about timber. We know that Western Province is endowed with a lot of timber, but of course we know what has been happening in the timber sector of late, and government of course had to intervene. So how is it that as a province you wish to tap into this sector? Well,
in various ways. First of all, during the mini exposition in Limulonga, we had the timber products, finished products from a company called Scale in Kaoma. It was really refreshing, this sort of products they brought, which means, and goes to show, as a matter of fact, that if our timber, which is just being cut locally, logs, and taken away somewhere, we were to put arrangements where finished products are made, would benefit in a lot of ways. First of all, would create jobs locally, would improve on the skills, and also will be selling finished products. Okay, and the industry, as a matter of fact, to be regulated, because you are cutting on the other side, you are planting on the other side, because you can see value. But at the moment, there have been a lot of issues in the industry, because basically it's been cutting trees and just taking them away. And of course, you know, this new government, our government, we are encouraging the fact that locally we should make use of these products. So for example, the president has said he does not want to hear or see a pupil sitting on the floor. So what we expect is that in areas like Kaoma, Sioma, Sesheke, Mlobezi, Skongo, where there are timber, a lot of timber, that industry will catch up, first of all, by starting to make the desks for the schools, and then subsequently what is required for the rest of the people. There's no reason why we cannot make all the beds, the chairs, the stuff from Kaoma, like what we saw. So is there a structure, or are there plans that you've set up that you can point at and say, we've done this and this in preparation of ensuring that we tap from the timber industry? Yes. First of all, add an example. The presidential directive to say he does not want to see people sitting on the floor. So from the provincial administration point of view, what we did then was to ask the provincial education officer to determine in all our schools in Western Province how many pupils are sitting on the floor, so that we determine the number of desks and chairs required. That is being done, and so once that is being is finished, we will know exactly which place needs how many. And so even in making those things by the local people through the CDF, we know that this is what needs to be done. Secondly, what is required is value addition locally, okay? Unlike before, because before actually, it was just cutting and the trucks coming to take. If you like, there was no structure. That is the simple answer I could give. But now we are trying to put a structure whereby factories go to those places, they put up buildings so that they can make the chairs, they can make the beds, they can make everything related to timber, so that what comes off Western Province is finished product. Not that they cut the timber from Western Province, it goes to China or Indonesia or wherever, the beds come back, the same person who is in Senanga goes again to buy a bed at such a big price. Yeah, we want it the other way around. We cut the trees locally, we make the beds locally, and we sell to the other side. That way we have added value, we have created jobs, and all of us are better off. And also even the planting of the trees which are cut is easier because they will go hand in hand. The people cutting trees also have to make sure that for each tree they cut, maybe they plant two.
That is Minister of Western Province. Of course, we are discussing how is it that we can develop Western Province. We know that Western Province in a long time has remained an underdeveloped province, yet it has a lot of potential to develop. So Honorable Kapelwa Mbangweta is in studio with me and we are discussing that topic. Moving on, Honorable Minister, 25.7 million Kwacha CDF, Constituency Development Fund, has been allocated to your constituency. Let's talk about that. What plans do you have for these resources? Okay.
Now, if I speak as an MP for Nkehema, okay? So in Nkehema, what we did the first time, because this is my second term, was to say, if you elect us as your representative, meaning the council chair, the councillors, and myself, and of course our president, we would go around the constituencies or the wards which make up the constituents to ask the people what is it that they want. Okay? So they indicated if they wanted a borehole, if they wanted a school, if they wanted this. We put up together, I produced a blueprint of Kaoma or Kehema needs in terms of developmental issues. We did that, and this is what we followed. The needs in there. Each time we go to a donor or to the government or to the well-wisher or to the CDF, would go and say, this is what they asked for, let's put this. So even this time round, we have that blueprint. So we know exactly where we should put a borehole. We know exactly where a road is required, a crossing point is required, and of course the numbers of the desk in relation to the presidential directive. Okay? So we all know all these issues. So the point now is to implement. Yeah, is to implement what is required. Okay. And of course we had our first CDF meeting the other week. Okay. Yeah, so now we're in the process of following up.
That. Okay, 25, we are still speaking to the 25.7 million kwacha that has been allocated to CDF. The committee that you've set up for these resources, how did you come up with those committees? People would like to know.
Well, it's already prescribed in the rules. It says who will be in the committee. So, for example, you'd have 3 councillors, you'd have somebody from the NGOs, from the churches, of course myself, and then the bureaucrats from the council. So it's prescribed in the CDF rules who should be there, and so yeah, it's fairly straightforward.
I see that. I hope we don't see a situation where people say only the cadres were selected.
No. How does that work? I mean, I've told in Kehema, for example, has got 8 wards, so 3 of those councillors are in there, I'm in there because the four of us are elected by the people of Nkema.
Okay.
Okay. And then, of course, somebody from the church cannot be a cadre. The bureaucrats who are in there, they are council workers because it's their job. For example, the director of works, who is in actual fact is where the engine sits. Yeah, okay. Somebody from finance, and so it's very straightforward. And of course, the WDCs are now the engine of development in the context that these are the people in the wards where they go, they have meetings, the people tell them this is what we want. But of course, in our case, we have a blueprint already. So what the WDCs will come up with is what we have already have, because the people have already told us. And so it's just in a sense to reaffirm, to say a borehole here, a crossing point there, a road there, and so on. So, for example, like the issue of making roads in Nkema because we don't have roads, it's there's consensus around it that okay, we must open up the roads, and so if that then it means it requires to buy some equipment to do that, and so we need some consensus to say, okay, do we do this first or we do it in the second level, and so on. So I think consensus is fairly easy to build because the needs are many, and we are coming literally from nowhere where everything is zero. Yeah.
Honorable Minister Bangweta there, Western Province Minister, and of course we are discussing how is it that we can improve the minister. Even right about now we have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. How are you?
Yes, this is Mwani Muliata from Nyambi.
Please go ahead with your contribution, yes. Mr. Muliata.
Now that the minister is there, I want to ask him a question. What actions is he taking over the diseases, cattle diseases like CTP? Because that CTP is slowly eradicating cattle in Western Province. What radical measures in immediate terms is he taking now to eradicate that disease? Because as I earlier told you that Western Province is capable of producing cattle like Botswana, the way it is doing. But you see, for a long time, the man who was trying that time in 1978 was Mr. Sungulwa, who was the member of parliament at that time when it used to be called Luampa, when it used to be called Mlobezi constituency. And in Western Province, he helped people to begin to rear cattle, these good breed cattle. But of late, we have seen that the cattle is being eradicated in this disease. Now he is being the minister there, and he is there saying that in Nkema is 210 now. What is he doing to see to it that Western Province becomes the best in terms of producing cattle that we can export to European Union? This is what we are talking about. And even that timber that is talking about, saying that no, we have to add value, we have to do what? Yes, we can add value. But you see, we need also to know the revenues must remain in Western Province. When timber is being exported, revenue must remain in Western Province. You know, the roads are very bad, very pathetic. As I told you, that Western Province is in the poverty level of 82.2%. You know, so we need him also to be in the stand of putting up plans of how Western Province must be able to improve before he leaves that office. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Muliata, for that contribution. Western Province known for cattle, but we have seen of late diseases attacking our cattle. We've seen situations where they have even put ban. I think, if not, my mind serves me well, was it last year or last year, we had, I think, a prolonged period where cattle movements in Mongo and other provinces in Western Province was put on hold for some time. So what is it that you're doing as a minister to table cattle diseases issues?
Very, very good. I'm very grateful with the points Mr. Muliata has raised. True, all of them. As a matter of fact, this is the reason we are doing the expo. Okay? So, remember where we started from. I said Western Province is renowned and endowed with cattle. Okay? Now, we have not used that endowment to the fullest because, one, Angola and Zambia share the border with Western Province, nearest to Congo. Okay? Angola buys beef from Brazil instead of Zambia, which is nearer, and it takes a long time. So if we had brought our cattle industry to speed, to acceptable limits and levels, we'll be selling meat to Angola. They would not be buying meat from Brazil. And this is what we are trying to do through the expo, okay, to open up trading routes, to open up opportunities. It's also true that the government which has gone, they had neglected the cattle arrangements in Western Province, because when they took over government, the cattle numbers were in the region of about 800,000. Now they are hovering just below 480,000. So if we go on that trajectory, yes, it's true, we would come to a point whereby cattle in Western Province will be zero. Since then, we took over in the last 8 months now. We have vaccinated all the cattle in Western Province. And we'll go on doing that to make sure that the breeds are protected from diseases. As a matter of fact, we launched that program in Nalolo, myself and the Minister of Livestock. So it was on public media, and so it's not something which is we can even debate and speak about. Because
Mr. Muliata spoke passionately.
Indeed,
Cattle is affected with these diseases. Let's get to him.
No, maybe he missed it. No, maybe he missed it. But the point, the real truth is that since we took over government, we have vaccinated all the cattle in Western Province, and we still continue to do that, and we still continue to encourage the people that they should bring their animals for vaccination, because if they keep them, it means they're endangering the others. So that's an ongoing project. The issue of
let me cut you just a little bit. It's like people today want to talk to you.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling us. You are through to the program.
Sorry?
You are through to the program. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm getting you.
Okay, go ahead with your contribution.
All right. Morning, Minister.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, this is Ricardo calling from Mongo. Yes, my contribution is I want to ask the Minister to when he's going to fix the road. That starts from Moonlight. I don't know, actually, let's just say from roundabout, up to maybe welcome to Mungule at Mandanga side. Because the state of that road is bad everything now, and it is even making our vehicles to get damaged. Why am I saying so? That that project before President Michael Sata, he had that idea of expanding that road and make it perfect just the way he did with the Muriata road. The road just connects close to that road. I think he knows it. He has the same idea with that main road, our main road. It is in bad state and it needs to be fixed. And not only that, also cutting again from Taoma to keep it that side, the road again is incapacitated state. It needs also to be fixed. So I don't know how possible, in fact, the minister is going to arrange the resources and come up with that project can start as soon as possible, because we need that road to be fixed. Our motor vehicles are getting damaged every day because of that bad state road. Even him also, he sees that every day when he moves, going to his office and the like. So your quick response is very much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Mr. Likando, thank you so much for coming through to the program. Minister Likando from Mongo is asking, when do you intend to fix the road from the roundabout somewhere, I don't know Western Province exactly, from the roundabout to welcome to Mongo? The road is in bad state and it is destroying their vehicles. Have you spoken to the ministry in charge of those roads with regards to when are they starting to work on the roads?
Yes, remember what I said, eh? Truly, in the case of Western Province, it's coming from zero, okay? That's why we're complaining. And we've come, we've fixed those things, okay? This place, TB, which he's talking about, that is in my constituency. As a matter of fact, the Osaka Mongo Road, is the west part is in my constituency, okay? Because we are coming from a zero situation, in the context that even roads which were put up by Kaunda and his colleagues, though the other people in between, they made them or let them to run down to very, very bad state, okay? So in our view, and what we have done is to start with the most important in terms of priority and safety. The bridge in the Kafue National Park is what connects Western Province to the rest, if you like, if you are coming this side, unless you are using Kaoma-Kasempa Road, okay? The road from Sesheke to Livingstone, which goes also to Mongo, where my brother is also equally very bad, okay? But in the overall scheme of things, if the bridge in the Kafue National Park fell in the water, it will be very difficult to get to Mongo. It will be very difficult to get to Nkema. And so we have started with that bridge. Okay. Okay? To make sure that at least people's lives are safeguarded and at least people can still get down to Western Province easily, though very difficult. So the work on that road, on that bridge, has already started. Very important. Why? Because of connectivity. Secondly, there is a lot of work which has already started between Mongo and Limulunga to the Royal Village. Okay? Work, as we speak, is going on. That is also very important because that particular project has got an item to do with one road which goes to the harbour in Mongo. It's got to do with another stretch from the main road, Senanga Mongo, to the rural village in Alola. Okay? The rest of the other roads, yes, they are very important, but we're still looking at arrangements to fix those roads. We have a very important road which has been an irritant, which we are going to fix, of course. Katunda, Lukulu, very bad. Sesheke, Livingstone, I've said, very bad. Mongo, and so on. So, yes, it's true, but we are working on all these issues to make sure that we ameliorate the issues. Have we started? Yes, we have started, like I've said. Okay. Yeah.
I've received a message, of course, from people who are watching, and they would like to find out, Minister, 8 months remaining for the implementation of project, while the projects themselves have not started. Do you think the 27 million CDF will be finished by December, or what is the way forward? Then the other question is, are you going to manage all the projects within 8 months, looking at how huge the CDF funds are? So someone who's watching is raising a concern to say, already we are in April and we are remaining with about 4 months before we are remaining, pardon me, with about 8 months before the projects can be completed for this year. Are we going to manage? And maybe before you answer that question, let's pick up a call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
You're through to the program. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm calling from Mongo.
Yes, please, sir. What's your name?
Specifically in the Mandanga area. Hello?
Well, we are able to get you. Please go ahead with your contribution. I'm able to hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Minister, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is actually my member calling from Mongo.
Yes, sir.
My contribution is that
minister, do you think we are ready? There are a lot of talkings, and if you have seen now, months are going, soon it will be a year, soon it will be 2 years, while things are not yet done. There are people that are saying this will start a lot from roundabout coming to up to your camera, just say the whole of this road up to somewhere to TBS. These roads are terribly bad. And what I'm saying is, if we are not careful, we'll end up just talking here, no, we'll start working, all time is going. We want you people to start seeing things work now being done. In Western Province, as you are aware, there are a lot of issues we are supposed to tackle. We have the issue of the road of Katunda Rukuru Road. We need the Shankombo Road, Morovezi Road. All that road. All of they are supposed to work. But if we see that we still have time, we don't have time. Time to work is now. Please help us. As you are aware, Western Province, as you are saying, we are starting from zero. There was nothing already has been done in this province. If it can be done, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Axon Mwamba, thank you so much for calling. Of course, Minister, I was equally speaking to the question that I asked earlier, so if you can combine explaining. So it's raised concerns to say, you know, you keep saying we will be working, we'll be starting, but time is moving. And of course, the person who just sent me messages equally asked to say, we are only remaining with 8 months before the year can come to an end. And you've got about 27 million Constituency Development Fund that is sitting in the account. Of course, we know the first part of the money, it's not that all the money was released. Are you going to manage to ensure that all the resources are exhausted before the year comes to an end, considering that we only have 8 months now remaining? So you can combine the two questions, that one and the concern that has been raised by one of the viewers.
Okay, so let me start with the concern raised by the Mr. Mwamba. I've indicated here that we have started working. I've indicated why we have started work on the bridge. You will not see it in the context of seeing that this, but that work there is so important because it determines people the capacity to get across or not to get across. So work is there because the other people had neglected that. I've said here that there's work on the Mongo, the Mulonga, which has the offshoots to the other two areas I've indicated. We are also working on the Shangombo Sioma. As we speak, we are graveling the part which had remained. So that work has been going on. Okay? With respect to the CDF, yes, all of us have to work very hard. And of course, the successful councils, now I'm speaking as an MP, the successful councils are those councils where there's capacity, where there's a good attitude to implement the projects. Because even previously, the 1.6 councils were not moving at the same space, okay, to use the money. As a government, from the provincial administration point of view, we want every project, this money to be used. There should not be issues of absorption capacity. The Ministry of Local Government, also other line ministry, is trying to capacitate the councils to ensure that the bureaucracy associated with the project implementation and monitoring is done away with. So what are we doing? Each member of parliament has been encouraged to make sure that their council, in the context of what is required, takes place. So I've said, as a member of parliament myself, we had our CDF meeting 2 weeks ago. Okay? So we have allocated the money. Okay. So what we are expecting then is that the bureaucrats will run with it. The Minister of Local Government, he has indicated to us in Parliament that when it comes to approval, he will not sit and wait. He will approve as he receives. So in theory, there shouldn't be a problem. The issue also in theory, if we follow the rules and the regulations properly, and fairness, no corruption and so on, and the idea that local contractors should be able to do these projects. Surely, you can give 10 projects today, And you can give those 10 projects to 10 various contractors in the same area. Why shouldn't they finish?
Okay, Minister, someone has just sent me a message, someone who's watching, of course, and they're saying the bridge that the minister is talking about actually was started by the previous Patriotic Front administration.
Yes.
So we want to know, we want the roads to be worked on, but the minister is making reference to a project that was started in the PF government.
Which they abandoned. I mean, that bridge, they abandoned it. Okay? We had a very unfortunate situation whereby the PS then in Western Province comes on radio, on TV, to say the Chinese have gone on a holiday. Can you go on a holiday for 5 years? I mean, that's irresponsible. They started it, they abandoned it. And we are fixing it because it was going to kill people. This is exactly what you have said. And this is exactly why we started with that, because that thing was going to kill people. There's a record there where the PSC said they had gone to for 5 years. How can you go to holiday for 5 years?
Okay.
Yes, so, yes, we have started with that, like I've said, because we value human life. Also, we value the fact that if the bridge went under, there will be nobody going to Western Province. Because Sesheke Livingston is also in a very bad state. We are trying to get a contractor there to do a PP on that road, because it's more or less now like starting afresh. And if that bridge went under, it means, like I've indicated, you can only get to Western Province, Sumongu, particularly Kalabo and those areas, by going to Kasempa, coming through Kaoma. And that road, at the moment, is not even done by government. The previous gentleman said an individual looking after that road.
Okay, so with regards to the roads, maybe as we even come to the wrap-up of our program, in the 5 years tenure that you've been given as a United Party for National Development, the first tenure, are you assuring the viewer out there to say the roads will be worked on in this 5 years period?
Because you see, like I indicated, my constituency in Kayema, that's where the bad part of the road is. Okay? So, will I be realistic to say I will go to other areas and leave this other part? This is the reason why we have started with the Kafue National Park, because it's up the road. Once we've done that, everything, and we'll fix all these other irritants. That's why we are there. Yes.
Well, Minister, maybe in concluding, we have seen a situation where some, yesterday we did, of course, have a news item on our desk at 19:30, where someone was raising a concern to say, for some of us, we've even abandoned registering for these cooperatives because of the process that is involved. Today you go here, they tell you, bring these documents, pay this, pay this. So when we tell our members to say, can you contribute these resources, our members are saying no. So I think there's no need of us going ahead with registering this, because they're asking us to go write proposals and stuff like that. But we understand that the Constituency Development Fund also includes resources that have to be channeled towards cooperatives. Have you taken time to educate your members on how they can go about writing proposals that are going to enable them register the cooperative and benefit from the resources?
First of all, in the presidential address, I'm sure you heard, he said that the bureaucratic arrangements, if they are there, relating to the registration of cooperatives and so on, must be resolved within the next 10 days by the Ministry of Local Government, Small Scale, and the Home Affairs. So that concern, if it's there, it has already been addressed. Secondly, in the case of Nkeyema, you cannot have difficulties of registering cooperatives, for example, because that is the farming area. People are used to making cooperatives as a way of life. We have facilitated that even under the new order. Even today, I'm seated here right now in Nkeyema. Today, we have workshops to teach our people financial literacy programs, how to do the same things you are talking about, how to use this money properly when it's given. And so, they are empowered. Okay? Yes, and we'll continue empowering them.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Honorable Kapelwa Mbangweta, who's Western Province Minister, and of course we were discussing how is it that Western Province can be developed. The Minister earlier on the program mentioned the fact that Western Province has never had an expo, despite all the provinces in the country having an expo. So this year in September, Western Province is expected to have its first ever expo. And remember that Western Province is known as a land cattle. It has got a lot of cattle, it has got a lot of water bodies, it has got a lot of timber and other sectors. So if you are a business and of course you would like to take part in the expo, you can get in contact with the Honorable Minister. Maybe Honorable Minister, just your concluding remarks with regards to the expo, and of course speak to the business community.
Well, I would like to thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to the fraternity, to the business community. Please help us. Come and support this initiative. The reason why everybody must support this initiative is a first initiative by the New Dawn government. So it must be the best in that regard. And so this is the reason why we are advising everybody to come, put money in this, put their knowledge in this, put their support in this. Yeah.
Okay, so you've raised the resources that are needed? Or
we are still in the process of raising the resources.
Okay.
Yeah, this is part of the process.
How much budget are we talking about?
Well, I don't want to tell you that.
We want to know stakeholders to contribute.
You might start running away from us.
All right, thank you so much. That was Honorable Minister Kapelwa Mbangweta, who's Western Province Minister, and of course we are discussing the development of Western Province. But for all those who have contributions and questions, send them through and we will be able to forward them to the Minister, who will respond to those questions. So for now, I was your host, Prudence Chota, and till next time, from me and my colleague and the entire Camnet TV crew, it's bye-bye and God bless you.